Hey, what's up, guys? Dustin Heiner here with Master Passive Income. Now, I recorded this session. It's a fantastic session where we talk all about how real estate websites can help you in your business, finding leads, getting new deals, and all that great stuff. Now, I wanted to share with you that as I was recording this episode, I literally had the recording stop right in the middle of it. So the audio still works, but the video is gone. Then I had to restart it all back up. And then, so in the middle of the video, you're going to see how it's just me and Jesse just kind of staring at the video, but you're going to hear audio in the background, and then it's going to pick back up and you're going to see the video. Now let's see how he uses real estate websites and how we can too to build our real estate business. All right, guys, I am super excited to have today's show where I am bringing on an expert who knows how websites can help us in our real estate investing business. Jesse, thank you so much for being here on the show with me today.
Hey, Dustin, thanks very much for having me on the show here today with you.
Now, your site is reiconversion.com.
That's
correct?
Right.
Now,
yep.
You talk about, and you know all about websites. Now, the first question I get, because I have lots and lots of students, actually, it's one of the many questions that I get with my students, but as they're going through my step-by-step system, one of the steps is to actually utilize a website for leads, to list your property and all that sort of stuff. And they ask me, well, why do I actually need a website? And I have to explain to them. So tell us, why do we need a website for our real estate investing business?
Yeah, there's really two reasons for having a website, two big reasons. The first of all is be able to build trust and have that transparency with whether it's your seller leads or your buyer leads. Having a website there, you're given a chance to actually explain about your business. Nowadays, there's sort of an expectation of almost having a website on the internet. A lot of people that sort of get postcards or mailers for their property, the first thing they're going to do is Google you and see if you're even on the internet. Because a lot of people, unfortunately in this industry, a lot of people are sort of suspicious of a lot of the activities that we do. So having that and also being able to explain to them the process. Now, this might be, as an investor for us, buying and selling properties, it's quite that's what we do. That's our bread and butter. But for them, it might be the only one time, and they're not sure how the process works, and they're very intimidated. A lot of times, people sort of abandon the process because they have to sign a contract or they have to sign something, and they're just not sure what's going on. So having a website gives you that chance, again, to build that relationship, to build that trust, and explain to them how it all works. Now, the other sort of piece to this whole thing is it's more of a strategic thing, but showing your leads and sort of walking through them, sort of guiding them through the funnel of actually completing that deal with you. So, like on a website, you get the chance to be as strategic as you can be. Getting them to submit their property to you, getting them to submit their email to you. It's almost an art form. And I've been doing this for the past 8 years now. And that's what we really focus on building websites that are strategic and are going to help you to build that trust with your leads, and then get them to convert and submit their property to you. And then from there on, you can follow up and go from there.
That's great. And I love the idea of having a professional website, one that really gives you credibility. People would look at you and say, hey, this guy has a solid website, not one that's either built in like the 90s where it just looks all old and outdated, but one that looks pretty professional. And one thing I really love to do is I love to show my amazing wife and my 4 amazing kids, because I want other people who I'm buying properties from, I want them to look at me as, hey, this is just a normal person. It's not like some fancy investor that's trying to steal all my money. This is just a normal person, has a normal family. And that's what I want to convey, because I want people to trust me, because that's in the end what it all comes down to in business. If you can have that trust and that transaction process, that trust is huge. Now, what would we do if we're going to find leads? Like what's the process of finding leads if somebody goes to our site? How does that work out?
Yeah. So, I mean, in order for how it all works is typically we're going to drive our leads to our website. So whether we're sending out mailers, postcards, whatever, you're running Facebook ads. You always want to drive those leads to your website. And your website acts as sort of a strategic mechanism to capture those leads. So when they land on your website, they should know right away, hey, I've got to submit my email to you. Hey, I've got to submit my property information to you. And that's sort of all in the strategy of building an effective website. And that's something I'd love to share with your audience today. And I've gone through and looked at a lot of websites out there, and what we've done with REI conversion and the stuff that we've built, and we'll chat about that a little bit later, we really focus not only on building the trust, but the main purpose is to get those leads, get them to convert, get them to submit. So how that typically looks like, they're landing on your website, and they're going to see right away, hey, this is an actual website where they know right away I need to submit my information. Now, this might go against a lot of popular convention of thinking, hey, it should be pretty. I should have a nice picture in the background first, and then do this and this and this, and then have a section on the website to collect their information. When we've done a lot of A/B tests and split testing, we found that having a form on the homepage that sits above the fold line on the screen is going to outperform any other website that is going to simply look pretty, and have a lot of filler information and images. So we sort of find a balance between the two of looking professional and looking good, and building that trust while making sure we're completing the main mission, and then that's collecting the leads. And I'd love to share with you guys sort of the top 5 things that I typically see on websites and easy ways to fix that.
Absolutely. That sounds great. So the strategy starts with grabbing their emails or their information, which is great. Now, go ahead and share us. What are you talking about there?
Yeah. So let's talk about the more common 5 things that I typically see and what we can do to sort of, fix that. The number one thing that I typically see on most websites is an issue with the headline. Now, I did a split test. This was last year. I did it on my house buying website. So I would be able to, motivate people that wanted to sell their house to me for cheap. And I did a headline test, and I saw oh my God, I had the numbers with me. I think it was a 15% difference between the two headlines. And the headline, I wrote it down here, and this was a while ago. The first one said, it's easy to sell your property fast for cash versus sell your property fast for cash. Now, you think that wouldn't make much of a difference, but it was a 15% difference. Now, I did it across 200 unique visitors, and I saw a much higher submission rate with the headline that says "sells your property fast for cash." Now,
wait. So pause that. So which one had the increase? Was it "sell your property fast for cash" or "it's easy"?
That's right. No, sell your property fast for cash. But you don't know that until you've tested it. Now, imagine I see a lot of websites that use their headline, that use their slogan for their headline or asks a question. This is sort of a missed opportunity. On your screen, you only have so much real estate. You want to make sure you use every space. And that's what I mean by being strategic, is making sure we're walking our leads through exactly what they need to do and how we're going to actually help them. So headline, make sure it's located right there on the homepage once you land on that website. A lot of times it's below what we call the fold. So you have to scroll, and that's below the fold, but you want to keep that above the fold line. So that's an easy fix. Make sure it's a headline that is directed to them and how you can help them. Not only that, it needs to be phrased in the sense using the words like you or your, how we're helping them, not so much about your business. So that's one of the biggest issues.
Pausing that, I completely agree with that, because everybody goes to a site and they think about themselves, like, what can I get out of this site? Not anything about the site. And what's interesting is when we're creating websites, we tend to think, again, what can I get out of what I'm doing in my site? So we need to change our perspective from being ourselves. We need to look at how is somebody else coming to our site, and what are they thinking about? What do they desire? What are their problems, their pain points? And how can I solve those problems? Wrap that all together, and you make it about the person coming to your site. If you could do that, that grabs them so much better than, hey, this is my site. I've done this, this, and this is all about me. And they're like, okay, great. I don't care about you. I only care about myself.
Yeah, and the data speaks. We do a lot of split testing, and this is what we see. And keep it short, keep it 8 words, and you can 8 to 10 words type of thing, one strong sentence, and of exactly what you're going to do on that website. You don't need to get fancy; it needs to be straightforward, and it's a unique benefit to help them. So that's one of the key things that I typically see on a lot of website. Now, the next thing is if we're going to be collecting leads, if we're going to be collecting information about somebody's property and we're going to buy that property, well, you're going to need a form. And that's another thing that needs to sit above the fold line. And I'm going to keep talking about this fold line, and it's so key. The fold line, again, is the bottom of that screen before you start scrolling. So aside from your headline and anything, any other thing that needs to show up is that form.
So
and
you're saying a form, it's literally, name, address, or what email address and all that sort of stuff? Or is it also, which one's better? Is it a button that they click that pops up, or is it literally a form?
Yeah, the less steps, the better. So literally a form, if you can have like I would say 3 to 4 questions on there. Their name, email is important. Phone, if you're contacting your leads through phone a lot, and perhaps their address. Now, address I know is sort of intimidating for that first step. So I would just grab those 3 information, and then that once they hit that the button to submit that form, it should bring them to a second form. So that's what we call a multi-step form. So now you've got them in the door. Now you can start collecting more information. Now, if they decide to abandon that form because it's, for whatever reason, they got it distracted, it's too long, or they just don't feel secure submitting, at least you have that information of their name, their email, and their contact, right? And then you can follow up with them from there. Another key thing is, I know it sort of goes against popular belief, but having a high contrast button color to that form. So if it's an orange always performs very well. It might not go with your branding, but it doesn't need to always go along with your branding, because you want their eyes to go straight to that form to submit that form to you, and get that information. So
you found like that orange is one of the better colors. Not red might be a little different. Green is a little different, because when I'm looking at or thinking about creating forms and creating a button, I'm like, oh, green is good. Green is like money, but green is go. Green is all that sort of stuff. But it kind of like my site is more blue and green colors, and that kind of blends in. Whereas something that pops out would be like an orange would be much better. Is that correct?
Well, as long as the color pops out. I know might not seem a big deal, but as long as a color pops out, it doesn't have to be orange. Typically, because a lot of websites have a lot of white space, orange works well. But if orange doesn't pop against, if your whole site was neon pink or whatever, it's obviously not going to pop out. You want maybe a black to contrast from that pink, right? So you want to pick something that can catch the eye and that pops out. I mean, you look at Amazon. I always pull Amazon in. Look at their call to action button. Look at their buttons to pay. It's always oranges or blues, something that'll stand out, that'll catch your eyes. Again, this is you walking your visitor, walking your lead through, walking your property owner through exactly what they need to do. So it might seem obvious to you.
Pausing that idea, you're absolutely right. I want to really touch on that, or really hammer that idea home. Whereas if you do not walk somebody through that entire process, they're going to get confused. They don't know exactly what's the next step, what you must do, or what's the next step they need to take in order to get to where they want to go. You need to help them. They didn't memorize your website. They don't know everything about it. So you need to, really just hold their hand through the entire process. And again, think about what your customer, the person looking at the site, think about somebody going through the entire process. Even if you need to say, hey, grab your best friend or grab somebody and say, go through my entire site, go through this entire process and tell me where you get confused or lost, because I want to get all those out of the way. So I think we definitely need to make sure we have that accounted for.
Exactly. Walking them through it. Again, it might seem obvious to you. A lot of these things might just seem so obvious. Why would I need to? But when you put yourself in their shoes, they're looking for a solution, and you have to be that solution provider, right? So that's another reason of why we need to walk them through. And I'll come to my next point. Listing your unique benefits to help. Again, coming back to helping them. You're going to list your unique benefits. Again, you might not be unique in the whole industry of investing, but you're going to be unique to them. So you're going to be unique to your motivated seller. So you're going to talk about how you can help them. Are they coming out of a divorce? Are they coming out of a certain situation that they're dealing with a property they don't want to deal with? Well, you've got to make that clear. And don't get caught up in writing too much. Keep those short bullet points, and make sure they stand out, so that they know exactly how you're going to help them out. You don't, other than your headline and your form, the next thing you should be talking about is the what kind of benefits are they going to get about you. You're not going to talk about yourself. Your about us section, honestly, can sit at the bottom. They don't really care. They're looking for a solution. They're either looking for a piece of property to buy, or own or whatever, or they're looking to get rid of a piece of property. So you, again, make sure you list those unique benefits of how you're going to help, and really sort of even spell out certain situations. You're moving out of you're moving out of your home because of a divorce situation, or you've got this property that got passed on to you that you don't want to deal with, and you've got taxes you've got to pay. We'll get you out of a tax situation. All those kind of situations, go through them and list them out of how you can help them out.
That's great. Now, what's the next thing that we need to do?
So it's not more about what you need to do, but it's one thing that I want a lot of people who sort of start owning websites and they sort of jump right to this. A lot of people think and get caught up with the term SEO, and falling into the trap of the SEO hype. Now, it seems to be such a hot topic nowadays.
So, well, pause that. What is SEO? Because we're real estate investors. We're not going to know what that term actually means.
Sure. And SEO stands for search engine optimization. And what it means is really, it's not what it is, but the result of it is having SEO. People think they're going to rank higher on Google search results. Now, SEO is a very, very complicated game, and Google continues to tweak the algorithms on how they look at sites and what they're looking for. And a lot of people feel like, oh, when I have a website, will I get SEO ranking? Will I get found right away? And they want to make sure, this is the most important thing about my website. When no, the most important thing about your business is finding those deals first and foremost, and then bringing them to your website to capture those leads. And with SEO, I don't think you need to be sort of too concerned about those things. There's a lot of investors, a lot of people that you're competing with, and the main thing is focus on writing a great headline and doing what I just sort of mentioned above, and not get caught up in this whole SEO. I think there's a lot of people that are convinced that SEO will get them discovered and get them people that'll Google you and find your website. No, there's thousands, tens of thousands of us out there, unless you're doing something very specialized, like a blog, like something like you're doing, Dustin, then SEO matters a lot more. But we're here for the investing game. And
so, Jesse, I completely agree with you that the SEO idea for a real estate website is going to be rather rough. And the reason why you're going to have to, it's going to be rough is because you're going to have to write article after article after article for Google to say, hey, this is a worthwhile website to send traffic to. I know for masterpassiveincome.com, my site, it takes a lot of work. I'm writing articles. This is why I do podcasts. This is why I do articles. I put out so much content so that eventually Google will grab it and then send traffic to me. Now, the downside is that's a lot of work. And us as real estate investors, my opinion, if you wanted to create a blog and have a bunch of articles, and you can absolutely do that, but it might not be the best way to go. I think a great way to go, and Jesse, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but a great way to go is to, instead of worrying about SEO, you are doing more legwork on your own. Letting people know that you're a real estate investor, handing out business cards. Like, you're basically anybody that says, oh, I might be interested in this. Literally, you give them your business card with your website on there. So you're finding leads. And that's the great thing about SEO is it finds great leads. Like, Google is fantastic at their business. Their business is, hey, you want this content? I have this content. Let's put them together. So they're really good at that. But you have even better way to grab people, get hot leads when somebody comes to you and you're talking in a random conversation at a grocery store, and you say, well, I'm a real estate investor. And then, oh, okay, I might be selling my house, or I might be this, or I might be that. So, oh, here's my business card, and it has your website on there. So you're finding hot leads yourself. And from that, you're getting more and more traffic. So what are your thoughts about that, Jesse?
Absolutely agree with you. I think, like you said, you're doing more of the legwork, but you're not spending time writing unique blog posts. You're not spending time, creating unique content, because at the end of the day, that isn't really going to help you out. What you need to go is get out there, network, meet other people, send out mailers, do whatever you can to drive that traffic back to your own website. And the more traffic you have, the greater for your SEO as well, because Google's going to see people are actually spending time on your website. They're looking at properties, and it also helps if you're constantly uploading new properties to your website as well. Google wants to see new content. You're not going to be able to back in the day, you could game the system, use duplicate posts or copy other people's blog posts. No longer can you do that. And in fact, you shouldn't be doing that because Google will punish you for that. So it's better to play the game correctly. Go out there and network, send mailers out, send letters out, send postcards out, put up your bandit signs, do whatever you need to do to get people to your site or getting your phone ringing. Yeah,
that's a great point. So is there anything else that we need to know about the process and the principles and strategies for the site, or should we start looking at how and what design we should use and all that?
Yeah. I mean, the last thing I want to quickly touch on, we've already touched on this, is build trust. Find as many ways to build trust on your site. And you mentioned this, having a photo of your family, having video testimonials, having testimonials. We emphasize on REI Conversion here about testimonials so much that we've now baked in an automated sort of testimonial collection tool as well now. It just makes a huge difference. With cover your Facebook pages, cover your Google, reviews, making sure you get those people that you end up working with to submit those testimonials to you. So do whatever you can do. Video always works best. Hey, if you have an explainer video on your site, it's another thing that we always emphasize as well, having an explainer video, and we do include that as well as, explain the whole process to somebody of how your business works. So with these sort of information, with these sort of elements that I've mentioned, it should bring you to heighten your website. And getting these websites set up doesn't have to be difficult. And there's some free tools you can be using.
So I personally love using WordPress. WordPress is a fantastical. Now there's other ones. Wix is a relatively new one. There was a bunch of other ones, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago. But the best one is going through WordPress, in my opinion. It's number one, it's free. That's fantastic. But number two, it's so functional. There's so many plugins. It's so great. So let's walk down the process of using WordPress. Now, obviously, we have to have a hosting company and we have to have a domain name. We have to have all that sort of stuff. And I've documented it heavily on my site. So on my show notes page, you'll be able to find all this information on how to do all this sort of stuff. But walk us through the process. What are your thoughts about getting the actual physical site going?
Yeah. So like you said, you need a host, you need a domain. And then essentially a lot of the hosts nowadays allow you to set up WordPress easily. And then typically, you can go a few routes. You can either hire someone to develop a site for you, which is quite costly and time consuming. You can use a generic theme. So what a theme is essentially is a skin. So a lot of people that'll do an e-commerce website, they'll just download a theme, they'll change the branding, and maybe this theme has an included plugin to sell things on the internet. So you can use a prepackaged generic theme. And then, you can use website builders like Squarespace or Wix. Unfortunately, I typically turn people away from those solutions because if you ever decide to leave Wix or Squarespace, well, unfortunately, they keep everything with them. They own all your data. They own all your SEO reputation that you've built over time. So WordPress is a great solution, like you said, with plugins. And what plugins are these sort of, think of it, I always say, think of WordPress like a mobile phone, right? You can download apps and those apps can do an infinite amount of different things for you. And that's how plugins work. WordPress is sort of like your phone, your smartphone, and plugins are little apps that you can sort of install on your site to make it do different things, whether you want to do a chat box on your site, or like Dustin has here, he's got a podcast plugin to allow him to play podcasts immediately. You can do a bunch of things. So when you're looking at real estate investors, what do we do? Well, we have plugins. Commonly found is a pop-up to collect emails before you can see the properties, or what we do over at REI Conversion, we focus actually on building themes, but most of our time is now spent on building out plugins. So one of our plugins that we have recently that we launched is what we're calling our automated offers plugin. So when somebody submits a property to you, your site can delay it, a response in 30 minutes or so, and send them an offer for that property in your sleep while you're doing nothing. So it'll calculate a percentage of that market value of that property and make an offer on your behalf. And then you guys can continue the conversation from there. So again, having a website, a domain hosting, setting up WordPress, installing a theme, and then adding all these plugins to get that up and running.
Now, I know that definitely for anybody listening who's never done a website, it might sound really, really daunting. And honestly, the first few times that you're going through the process, it might be a little, not scary, but it's just a new thing that you need to learn. But it's going to be great for your business in the long run. Now, on my show notes page, you go there in the description, you'll be able to click the link for the show notes page. I have some great tools for you. Like I love Bluehost. Bluehost, you can actually just get a hosting site. This is the hosting company for like $3 a month. You get a site that's professional looking using WordPress, which is free. Now, I also have a discount for getting your domain names. Go to the show notes. It's going to have all that as well. And you will be able to go walk through the process. I have on the show notes page a whole video walking you through how to set everything up. I want to make it as simple as possible because you're right. It's really, really difficult to learn something new unless somebody's showing you, which is what we want to do. Now, Jesse, you talked about a theme. Now, a theme is something that makes the site look pretty. It's a skin, like you said. It's something that it visually is what lays out the site. Now, with REI conversion, do you guys have something that we can utilize there too?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've designed specifically themes for real estate investors. That's all. In fact, that's all we focus on. Whether you're focusing on houses, you're buying rental property, or you're buying property to fix and flip, or you're wholesaling houses. We also have vacant land website themes as well. So we have what we call a buy side and a sell side. So to intake property and to offload property. So if we're looking at houses, we have something called REI house leads to take in property. And really it's super simple. We've designed the theme to be a few clicks to actually install it. And what it'll do is actually install all the images, all the content, all the copy, and you just have to input your logo, your email information, your contact information, and you can go in there and customize it as you like. So if you want to change your branding color to match your branding, or if you want to change the logo, you can do all of that. And we make it very easy. We actually have videos step-by-step on setting everything up. And what the great thing is, now you're armed with a very powerful site that'll give you that chance to, again, use different plugins, to add different plugins to automate your business. And having that site there will allow you to scale up and automate a lot of your operations, so you can get hands off and spend your time working on other things. And that's another thing. Not only do we have themes, but when you do sort of sign up for or join one of our themes, or purchase one of our themes, you get access to all our plugins, and we continue to launch new plugins. And that's sort of the bulk of our work here. And we love getting creative and hearing what our investors are looking for. And like I said, one of the new ones that we just launched was the automated offer. Is a huge time saver. Another one that we're working on right now, and it's the first time I've mentioned this, is we're going to make pulling comparables for properties very quickly. So if you're listing a property to sell and you want to be able to show the comps in the area, well, all you need to do is input a link and it'll pull the information from say Zillow and autofill that for you.
Wow,
so these are the type of things. These are the type of things that we're working on and supporting our investors through.
That sounds fantastic, especially saving time, because you're going to get people that go to your site, and let's say you're looking to buy some properties and you have somebody bringing you a lead. Well, if it's not a qualified lead, it's not a good lead that's going to fit you, you want to be able to dismiss that as quick as possible. It could be somebody like, their house is worth $100,000 and they want $200,000 for it. It's just completely crazy. You want to be able to weed that out, and time saving, like you said, in having plugins or having the themes set up. Basically, it's great to have things already done, that you have somebody else that knows the real estate industry just like you, and you're developing the plugins and the themes to fit our industry. So it's all the guesswork is taken out. We can literally just implement it, which I absolutely love that. And the fact that you said you could do a comparable, I can have a link for a comparable. I mean, like that is very, very cool. I can't wait to see how that works out. So tell us a little bit about how the plugin for not just the comparables, but like all the plugins, like tell us which plugins do you have and how can they help us in the business?
Sure. Yeah. So we launched first in the land industry, land investing area first. So we're taking a lot of what we've learned in the land and bringing it over to the housing. Now we're working with a lot of wholesalers as well. But so like I said, we have our automated offer plugin for the land side of things. And we're also going to bring this over to housing is what we're calling our sales post generator. So when you list a property on your sell site, what it does is it can condense all that information ready for a copy and paste format to bring into Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or wherever you might be marketing. Again, another time-saving function. Another one we have is something called the property content lock. This is very popular, is that it forces people to submit their information on your site before they can look at properties. Now you can make it optional. I know some people are very emotional about that. It gets them heated up. No, I would never do that to my, visitors. Well, you can make it optional where they can close that down, and look at your properties first before they submit their information, because those of you that are running websites need to be collecting emails. Emails is almost regarded as a gold, a certain currency. It's so important that we capture those emails because they may not buy right away from your site. They may not want to offer you their property or whatever it may be. But over time, if you're continuing the conversation with them through an email system like MailChimp or whatnot, you're going to warm up those leads and they're eventually going to convert. So you got to think of your website strategy as almost a long-term game. So I'm getting sidetracked here, but those are some of the plugins that we have. We're working on one, and you can always check out our roadmap. It's reiconversion.com/roadmap to see what kind of other plugins. We're working on a scarcity timer. So a lot of people want to put certain properties on sale at a certain time. There can be a timer that'll get in there. But these are, you can grab another plugin if you'd like. And that's the beauty with WordPress. There's a lot of different things that people are sort of implementing in their website.
Go ahead.
There's one more thing. I just want to make it clear. If you don't want to, if you don't have to go through REI conversion to build a website, there's a lot of free tools. And I'll just quickly name a few. WordPress is free, like Dustin mentioned. You can use a page builder like Elementor, which has been voted as, the top plugin for WordPress back to back. MailChimp is a free software to build an email sequence. And I'm sure you have a lot of this in your resource section or in your show notes, Dustin. But these are some of the great tools. And a last one that I love using is something called Unsplash, which is free images.
Unsplash.com. I use it all the time. I love that.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but the only thing is, building your own site can be time consuming. And, if you're open to figuring things out and tinkering, if you like doing that, you can always do that. Or you can, again, check out the show notes. I'm thinking Dustin will have a link to, REI conversion. We have a free, what I call it's titled the Damn and Easy Effective, website template for investors. And really what it is a whole template on how to lay out a website to be able to convert motivated sellers. So it'll show you how you should lay out your section, your header section with the headline, and how you should lay out your form, and how you should lay out your benefits and this and that. So it's a visual, it's sort of an infographic that they can download, and they can grab that over at resource.reiconversion.com.
Awesome. I'll definitely put that in the show notes as well. And anybody go through the show notes page. I'll have all these links for you. I also have my affiliate link that'll be in there because he has some great stuff, and we partnered together to try to get some more great stuff. So go in the show notes page in the description as well inside this. But Jesse, I love that you gave us something free. That's something that's going to be fantastic for us. How else can anybody get a hold of you, reach you, and really just see what you have to offer?
Yeah, I mean, you can find us over, you can find me at Jesse Kwong, that's Jessey, and last name Kwong, Kwong. And you can find me on Facebook, of course, and you can find our Facebook page, REI Conversion. We've got two Facebook communities. So we got the REI conversion community for land investors, when we got one for the house investors. And really, the best thing to do is if you want to get in touch with me personally, just head over to reiconversion.com, hit the book tour button, and you're going to sit on a call like this, like we're doing right now, and I answer questions and I chat with you. I love meeting investors. I love sharing my story, and I love hearing about their story as well. So if you ever want to just, honestly, a lot of people that just call and just sort of ask me for advice and talk about how to set up a website, I'm more than happy to sit down and chat with you and get to know you guys.
Wow, that is super generous, Jesse.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you've given us so much great value. I'm really excited that everybody's going to get to hear this because it's so amazing how websites can help you and your business. So, Jesse, thank you so much for getting on here and sharing us with all your great wisdom. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
All right, take care.